okay, how do I put this? Kaylee is more upset about the situation as a whole and it being allowed to happen and it going this way with good reason, while Madison is more mad at the people involved in the situation. And I'm feeling like it's not just the killer. I'm feeling like she feels let down, and I don't mean this to be harmful in any way. I'm just telling you what I see. It seems like Kaylee is more mentally like going back through the situation as a whole and being very upset and angry at the situation, whereas Madison is more focused on the people in the situation. So I do feel, while it is obviously the killer, she's obviously not happy with him, at the same time, there's a feeling here of the Seven of Swords is about betrayal. The Five of Swords is, it's almost painting a picture like, she's like, why didn't you guys look into the noise? Why didn't you, like, not like a deliberate betrayal, not like a setup of any sort, but it's almost like Madison is like, you guys heard something or you saw something, like what, there's some layer of, she feels as though someone dropped the ball in some way. And it might not be the surviving roommates, or it might be, but like, she feels Madison is more focused on the people in the situation. They made a choice that they now regret. They wish they would have stepped up and done something. I'm feeling like and this is kind of what I was feeling before as well, but I feel like the surviving roommates heard something that night. It's in reverse, yeah. Okay, so that's about a delay. So I feel like the roommates and the Madison and Kaylee and them, I feel like they spoke to the surviving roommates, but then the surviving roommates heard something and thought it was them, but like it couldn't have been them yet because they had, the time wouldn't have made sense. Like it's like, it's almost like Madison is saying like, it's not your fault, but if you would have thought about it for a second later, you would have recognized that that couldn't have been us because I told you when we were going to be home, or something along those lines. I want to see Madison's energy towards their surviving roommates. Nine of Wands. Yeah. The Nine of Wands is like having your faith tested, or kind of like, it can be about like a final push of some sort. So in this case, it's making me think like, if you just would have, and then the other roommates heard a noise or heard something that was off, but like ignored it or didn't think enough about it to be like, oh, this can't be them because I just talked to them and they were there. So they couldn't be the one making the noise or something like that. It's either that or they heard the first attack of Ethan and Xana and didn't, let me pull a card. Knight of Cups. No, I think they heard someone come in and didn't think enough about it. But it's like Madison's energy is kind of like, I'm a little let down, or like almost like if the situation was reversed, I would have double checked or something, or I would have given you a heads up, hey, I heard something. It's almost, you know what it is? It's Madison wishes that they would have texted her to see if that was her. Like, hey, I thought you were here. I heard, are you upstairs? It's almost like that, because while Kaylee's energy is very focused on how could this happen, Madison's looking at it from the perspective of, well, if they would have taken one more additional precautional step, this might not have happened. It's almost like it's almost like, I feel like Madison is like the kind of person who doesn't necessarily love being home by herself alone at night. So it's like from her mindset, she's almost like, if I would have heard a noise that didn't make sense, I would have at the very least reached out to be like, hey, are you home? Because I just heard this, or something along those lines.
And we're learning about a face-to-face encounter between a masked man in the home and one of the surviving roommates. There was DNA left at the scene. We know more about how police made a match and tracked down Kohberger based on what they found, and the importance of phone records and the suspect's car. And only on News Nation, we have an exclusive interview with the parents of one of the victims. They have a message for the suspect. They want him executed if he is guilty. Our team is digging into every angle this morning. We have live team coverage.
I feel a lot of guilt here from them, but not really like there's no way that any of these kids could have put this together and stopped it. There's just not. Even if, for example, even if, let's say, the girls downstairs heard a noise, if they would have went up to try and check on what that noise was, I think they would have been in the same situation as the other four. Their energy is, I wish I would have thought more deeply into it. I wish I would have investigated. I wish I would have done something differently, but not realizing if they had done something differently, they would be in the same situation as the other four, because the person that they're dealing with was not just going to walk away and be like, oh, I'm caught, bye. It wasn't going to be that. It was going to be...
The surviving roommate in the Idaho college killings failed to call 911 the night of the slayings because she apparently believed the killer was a party guest.
One of the details...
And I'm feeling like her lack of urgency to call the police was not so much that she was fearing danger, was just that I really feel like she assumed that that was Ethan's friend. Forensic science field will provide important clues with fingerprints on the card. So it's going to take a while to process the crime scene, but they're saying that there should be something there that's worth using. Or not worth using, everything's going to be worth using, but like that's going to lead to something. I feel like this is direct because they basically just said, we're not going anywhere, you know, I'm gonna fight as hard as I can now. I think that they're literally going to find fingerprints that are from the killer.
New documents just unsealed show that prosecutors say DNA left on a knife sheath was used to link Brian Kohberger to the murders, and one of the surviving roommates came face to face with him that night.